There are revelations that change lives, and there are truths that must be kept so that the mission of the Chosen One is not interrupted. When someone carries a spiritual calling, every spoken word becomes a seed, and not every ear is fertile ground. That is why there is a set of secrets that the Chosen must never expose, not out of fear, but because of divine protection. We live in a time when people share everything, from intentions to deep pain, but the Chosen cannot follow that same flow. God sets his people apart, and that separation requires silence in specific areas of the soul. Certain instructions must remain hidden, because premature exposure destroys what is still being shaped. Heaven works in secret, and those marked by God must learn to do the same. When a Chosen One reveals what should have remained guarded, they hand the world ammunition against themselves. Envy awakens, opposition intensifies, and spiritual forces move to delay what God has already set in motion. Therefore, understanding these secrets is not only wisdom, it is spiritual survival. Every step, every vision, every battle, all have the right time to be revealed. And that time is not determined by others, but by God. And that is exactly why this message exists. To remind you, Chosen One, that your journey requires discernment. Some paths will be walked in darkness, and some victories will be celebrated only in silence. Spiritual maturity begins when you understand that keeping is just as important as receiving. And today we will reveal what must never be spoken, so that nothing steals what has been planted inside you. Before we continue, I want to thank you for being here. I am George, and my mission is to awaken and strengthen those who have been set apart by heaven. If this message touches your spirit, follow the channel and stay with me. The journey has only just begun. Secret 1. What God shows you in secret. There are revelations that were never meant to be shared. There are instructions, visions, and spiritual directions that God gives only when you are silent, away from noise, and distant from human opinion. The first secret that a Chosen One must never reveal is precisely what God showed you in your secret place. What is born in intimacy with heaven cannot be exposed on the surface of the world. Most people do not understand the weight of a divine vision, not because they are bad, but because they lack the spiritual maturity required to handle something that is still being formed within you. The revelation that God places in your spirit comes as a seed, fragile, delicate, vulnerable. And seeds do not survive when they are pulled from the ground too early. When you share too soon what should remain hidden, you open doors to interference, envy, and spiritual sabotage. The world will never understand the language of the sacred. When someone without discernment hears what God told you, they react with doubt, mockery, or resistance. That can wound your faith and destroy your confidence. Joseph is one of the greatest examples of this. He had great dreams, saw what God would do in his life. But when he told them, it stirred hatred, envy, and betrayal. Not because the dream was wrong, but because the audience was wrong. The enemy also feeds on what you say. He cannot read your mind, but he hears your voice. When you reveal your spiritual plans, he tries to interfere, delay, confuse, and even build obstacles to prevent their fulfillment. There is a reason God speaks to you in the dark. It is protection. It is covering. It is alignment. The secret place is not a hiding place of fear. It is a space of preparation. There, God shapes your vision, strengthens your faith, and organizes every detail before revealing it to the world. That is why it is important to respect the time of silence. Some people do not need to know what God is building in you. Some friendships are not ready to carry the weight of what you have received. Some family members do not have enough faith to celebrate what God is about to do. The secret is sacred. It protects you. It keeps you away from dangerous shortcuts. It ensures that the vision matures before being tested. The revelation God gave you is like a spiritual baby, and no one exposes a newborn to the cold before it is ready. So it is with your promise. Wait for the right time. Let God Himself announce it. Let the results speak. Let the fruit reveal what the seed carried. You do not need to convince anyone. You do not need to justify anything. What was born in secret will blossom publicly, but only when it is strong enough to survive. Secret 2. The depth of your battles. The second secret that the chosen must never reveal is the true dimension of the battles they face. The inner wars, spiritual attacks, silent fears, and deep pains should not be exposed to just anyone. Not everyone has the maturity to handle the intensity of the war you live. There are struggles that only God understands. There are burdens that only He can carry with you. People do not know the weight of your story, and even unintentionally, may diminish, mock, or distort what you have lived. When you share your pain with someone spiritually immature, you risk handing your vulnerability to someone who does not know how to protect it. Samson fell because of his tongue, not his strength. He revealed his intimacy to someone with hidden intentions. In the same way, when you open your heart to someone unprepared, you hand them weapons to use against you. There are individuals who seem welcoming, but are more interested in information than in healing. Some will listen only to spread. Others will listen only to compare. Others will listen only to judge. The chosen face battles that cannot be understood by human logic. You fight in the spirit while the world thinks your war is emotional. You face invisible attacks while others believe you are being dramatic. If even Jesus had a small, intimate circle for moments of pain, who are we to expose everything to everyone? Spiritual protection requires discretion. Neither close friends nor family nor social media followers can fully understand the intensity of your struggle. That is not pride. It is wisdom. God uses certain battles to draw you closer to Him, not to others. Your secret crying, your knees on the ground, your nights of prayer, your sleepless hours. All of this is part of a spiritual formation that only He can interpret. And when you win, the world will see the glory, but never understand the cost. That is how it must be. Your struggle is not entertainment. Your pain is not content. Your war is not an argument. Keeping what you face to yourself protects your soul and prevents the enemy from gaining advantage over your weaknesses. The strongest battles are not spoken about. They are won. Secret 3. Who God said you are. The third secret that a chosen one must never reveal is their true spiritual identity. When God tells you who you are, He is not asking for opinion, acceptance, or human validation. The revelation about your identity is personal, deep, and often difficult for others to accept. Most people do not react well when you express your anointing. They are not bothered by your humility, but by your potential. They are not disturbed by your faith, but by the impact you will have. They do not reject your identity because it is false, but because it threatens their comfort zone. It was the same with Jesus. When He declared who He was, many did not applaud. They tried to kill Him, because the truth confronts. Spiritual identity confronts. Anointing unsettles. When God reveals who you are, He does not give you a title, but a mission. You do not need to announce that you have been chosen. Heaven already knows. The earth will see it at the right time. The chosen do not promote themselves. They reveal themselves through their fruit, life, perseverance, and character. The identity God gave you is a treasure. Exposing it too soon can lead to resistance, mockery, attack, and even spiritual sabotage. That is why you must stay silent while God strengthens the version of you He is forming. Do not open your mouth to explain what will only be understood when it is mature. David was anointed king and went back to the field. Joseph received the dream and had to wait. Jesus knew who he was from the beginning, but spent years in anonymity. Because identity without maturity becomes a target. Identity without preparation becomes a burden. Identity exposed too early becomes a reason for persecution. Do not say who you are. Live who you are. And when God decides to exalt you, no one will be able to stop it. Secret 4. Do not reveal whom God is removing from your life. When God starts removing people from your path, He is not causing losses but preparing the ground. Many connections were important for a time but can no longer keep up with the spiritual level you reached. The distancing is not a mistake nor a sign of rejection. It is an act of divine protection. And for that very reason, it should never be explained to those who do not live your process. When you try to justify why someone left your life, you open space for judgments, opinions, and interference that should not exist. Many will try to convince you to maintain ties that God has already cut. Others will attribute ego, pride, or coldness to your obedience. And some, without realizing it, will encourage you to return to environments that weaken you spiritually. God's movement always makes more sense in silence. He sees intentions you did not see, conversations you did not hear, energies you did not sense. People who hugged you might have envied you. Others who supported you might have desired your position. Still others might have competed with you in secret. And when God decides to remove someone, it is because He discovered something that could not stay hidden. Talking about it weakens your spiritual protection. Every explanation you give opens a gap the enemy can use. He will try to reopen cycles, reignite doubt, provoke nostalgia, and make you look back. Lot's wife turned into a statue because she looked toward what God had ended. That symbolizes that looking back paralyzes you and keeps you from moving toward your purpose. By keeping silent, you honor divine strategy and avoid carrying weights that are not yours. Allow heaven to close doors without broadcasting the details. Remain obedient, even when you do not understand everything. Those who left needed to leave so that you could grow. God removes, cleans, distances, and repositions, and none of these stages should be discussed. The removal is divine, not social. Secret 5. Do not reveal what you are praying for. The prayer of a chosen one is sacred territory. There you expose your fears, dreams, wounds, and deepest desires before God. And for that very reason, sharing your requests with the wrong people weakens what you are building in the spiritual realm. Your prayers reveal your goals, weaknesses, and hopes, and none of that should be exposed to those who do not know how to protect. When you announce what you are asking from heaven, you provide the enemy with enough information to try to interfere in the process. He cannot enter your spirit, but he can use spoken words. Requests exposed too early attract envy, unbelief, negative energy, and even destructive prayers. Not everyone roots for you. Some pretend, others doubt, others hope nothing happens. Jesus taught that strong prayers are made in secret. The secret is not isolation, but shielding. In it, heaven responds without human disturbance. Hannah conceived Samuel because she prayed in silence. She did not share her desire to be a mother with anyone. She only opened her heart before God, and it was precisely her silent prayer that brought the answer that changed her life and the history of a nation. Talking too much about what you are asking opens emotional breaches. People project their fears onto your dreams. Others belittle what you seek. Others doubt and make you doubt. And some, without apparent malice, speak words that directly weaken your faith. That is why keeping your prayers private is not pride but wisdom. Pray in silence, cry out in silence, fast in silence, and let your testimony appear when God acts. Heaven does not need an audience to operate. Your requests are spiritual seeds, and seeds only grow when they are not unearthed. Protect your pleas. What you ask in secret will be honored in public. Secret 6. Do not reveal your next steps. Every chosen one experiences spiritual movements that cannot be disclosed before their time. Important changes, new directions, deep decisions, and strategic new beginnings must be born in silence, because they are fragile at first. Revealing them too early attracts interference, contrary opinions, envy, emotional sabotage, and spiritual attacks. And all of this happens before your plan has the structure to stand. Nehemiah understood this truth. When God placed the mission to rebuild Jerusalem in his heart, he told no one. He walked through the city at night, observing every detail in secret. He planned without an audience. He dreamed without distraction. He knew the vision was still vulnerable and needed protection before becoming public. And because he kept silent, the work prospered. The chosen fall when they speak too much. Many lose opportunities because they celebrate too early. Others see doors close because they share plans with people who were never truly rooting for them. Others have their projects copied, criticized, or sabotaged. And some are diverted from their path by advice from people who claim to love them, but do not understand the purpose. Silence is not cowardice, it is spiritual strategy. What the adversary does not know, he cannot block. What people do not hear, they cannot manipulate. When you guard your next steps, you preserve your future. Your movements should be seen only when they are complete, not while they are still being formed within you. Guard your changes. Guard your decisions. Guard your transitions. When God moves you, simply go. Let the world notice through transformation, not through announcements. Let your arrival speak louder than your intention. The chosen walk in silence, but they arrive with authority. Secret 7. Do not reveal the depth of your pain. The pain of a chosen one is not ordinary. It carries spiritual, emotional, and energetic layers that people cannot interpret correctly. That is why this kind of suffering should not be exposed to just anyone. Some people are merely curious and want details not to help, but to compare, criticize, or spread. When you give your pain to the wrong ear, you hand your vulnerability to someone who doesn't know how to protect it. The wrong outburst can turn into a weapon. People who don't understand your walk end up judging your process, and that judgment weakens your spiritual self-esteem. There are pains that only God understands, and He allows some battles to be fought in silence, so that you learn to trust Him more than human opinions. Pain that is too exposed loses strength. Pain given to God becomes transformation. You don't need to justify your exhaustion, your inner fight, or your desert. Not everyone was called to walk with you, much less to understand the weight you carry. There are scars that should not be explained because they would be misunderstood. There are tears that should not be shown because they would awaken empty comments. The soul of the chosen needs discretion to rebuild itself without external interference. Keeping your pain doesn't mean hiding suffering, but protecting it. God heals in secret, strengthens in intimacy, and lifts you up in silence. And when you are finally restored, the world will see only the result, not the process. Your pain should not be used as dramatic storytelling. It is raw material for purpose, and protecting it is honoring your own journey. Secret 8. Do not reveal the spiritual strategies God has given you. Heaven does not give strategies in vain. Every divine instruction carries purpose, precision, and a specific time. When God shows you how to act, whom to speak to, where to step, and when to move. He is teaching you a path that belongs only to you. This direction must not be shared, because once exposed, it loses strength and becomes a target of human and spiritual interference. While you are being guided internally, others may try to give opinions that steer you off your path. Some people project their own fears onto your decisions. Others try to convince you to do what is comfortable, rather than what is necessary. Many times, well-intentioned advice destroys heavenly plans because it was not inspired by the Spirit. And there is an even deeper risk. When you reveal your strategy, the enemy gains enough information to plan opposition. He cannot steal the vision God gave you, but he can delay, confuse, distract, and raise obstacles when you open your mouth too soon. Purposes exposed too early attract resistance that you didn't need to face. That's why silence is a spiritual tool. Guarding the strategy protects the process. What is sacred must mature without applause, without criticism, without comparison. The instructions God gave you are not public debate. They are direct alignment with heaven. The strategy revealed to you is the code to open future doors, and it only works when it remains guarded. Secret 9. Do not reveal the strength of the anointing you carry. The anointing that rests upon the chosen disturbs spiritual environments and people who are not yet awakened. When you openly declare the level of authority you carry, you awaken unnecessary resistance. Some feel threatened. Others try to belittle you. Some wish to see you stumble just to confirm their own insecurities. The anointing provokes, even when you do nothing but exist. The spiritual strength you carry does not need to be announced, because God confirms it through your behavior, your perseverance, your fruit, and your posture. The anointing does not live in speech, it lives in practice. Those who are spiritual recognize it. Those who are not reject it. That is why revealing the greatness God placed in you only awakens premature attacks. But why should these truths not be spoken? The chosen carry a spiritual sensitivity that is not always understood by the world around them. Behind the anointing there is a calling that needs to be protected, because what God plants inside a chosen one is born first in the invisible, where it is still fragile, silent, and vulnerable. That is why there are truths that must never be exposed, not because they are forbidden, but because they are too sacred to be placed in the wrong hands. Most people interpret the spiritual only through human logic, and that creates noise, judgment, and resistance. When a chosen one reveals what God is doing, what should have been nurtured becomes a target. The enemy cannot decipher the heart of the chosen, but he can attack what they announce. The more you speak, the more spiritual breaches you open. What should have been growth becomes exhaustion. What should have blossomed becomes a topic for those who understand nothing about your purpose. Furthermore, spiritual truths exposed too early awaken human emotions such as envy, competition, sarcasm, and disbelief. All these reactions carry energy contrary to what God is building. People who lack spiritual maturity may discourage you, distort your words, or even try to sabotage what God revealed to you, not out of absolute malice, but out of their incapacity to deal with something that does not yet belong to them. Silence protects purpose. It keeps the enemy disoriented, keeps people away from energies they should not touch, and preserves the purity of what God is shaping. The chosen do not grow through exposure. They grow through discretion. Heaven works in secret, and the chosen learn to work the same way, because they understand that what is sacred cannot be treated as common. These truths remain kept because they sustain destiny. Revealing them too soon puts the process at risk, delays progress, and can even compromise the purpose. To guard is to obey. To be silent is to protect. And to move forward without announcing is to allow God to be the only one responsible for your growth. The chosen do not keep silent out of fear. They keep silent out of wisdom. Because what is built with God in secret becomes unshakable when it finally reaches the world. Getting this far already shows that you are ready to protect what God has entrusted to you. The chosen do not walk like the crowds, because they carry spiritual responsibilities that not everyone can yet understand. That is why every secret, every revelation, and every direction given by heaven must be treated with respect and discernment. Guarding what is sacred is not hiding. It is honoring the purpose. When you take care of what God placed in your hands, He takes care of what is beyond your reach. Silence preserves, strengthens, and prepares you to live what has been promised. Nothing that God planned depends on human approval, and no attack can stop what He built in secret. The chosen grow differently because they are guided by a different voice. And that voice knows the exact time to reveal, to move, and to manifest. Now that you understand why some truths must never be spoken, your journey becomes lighter and clearer. Walk with wisdom, speak only what the Spirit allows, and trust the process being shaped within you. The destiny of the chosen is born in silence, blossoms in obedience, and is fulfilled in perfect time. Before we end, I want to hear from you. Comment here which of these secrets you didn't know was better kept in silence. Your experience may help other chosen ones who are going through the same process. Your voice matters. Your journey matters. Your purpose matters. Let's grow together.